The mayor was shot on Friday. I got the telegram Sunday. It's supposed to be a day of worship, but I ain't had much use for praying since my wife Cynthia died of dysentery last winter. Come to think of it, I ain't had use for much except a non-alcoholic beverage, a wildly inconsistent southern accent, and, well, maybe a case every now and then. Oh yeah, the name's Flint, Cooper Flint. I'm a private eye, and this was the start of my time in Tumbleweed.
You've been on that lonesome trail for days now, and the country sky's the only friend you know. Your horse's back is breaking and you feel weary and forsaken. Well, there's only one place that you can go. Tumbleweed, take your trusty steed down to the thirsty horse for a good time. Tumbleweed, we got all you need, a bed of bread and you'll be doing fine. Tumbleweed, take your trusty steed down to the thirsty horse for a good time. Tumbleweed, we got all you need, a bed of bread and you'll be doing fine.
I quickly realized that James Wald's murder couldn't have been perpetrated by just one person. It had to be two, and for the sake of equality, it had to be a man and a woman. So I went and rounded up the 12 shiftiest characters in Tumbleweed and grilled them like they were Franks roasted over the fire on a lonesome night on the trail. What's your name?
You know my name. Gary Corduroy and Corduroy, owner of the local saloon. Best ginger ale on the west side of the Mississippi.
Did you have anything against James Wald?
Sure, I had something against him, but I wouldn't kill him.
Care to go into detail?
Well, Mayor Wald, God bless him. Here's how he's trying to shut down the horse, on account on his wife for supporting the temperance. I say my saloon is what keeps this town running. So sure, we had our disagreements, but I heard from Colt Rye on the other hand that Mr. Wald wasn't gonna renew the lease on it.
Golly. Well, where were you Friday night?
At the horse, of course, and Mary can attest to that. She was with me all night long.
So, it seemed Corduroy was in the clear. To corroborate his claims, I brought in his co-worker, Mary Clay.
Gary doesn't like me telling people this, but I handle the business side of the horse. That darn fool couldn't file a tax report if it bit him in the rear. So I would deal with Wald directly. He liked to be close to the townspeople, especially those with businesses.
And where were you on the night Wald was murdered?
Tending bar at the horse. Pretty slow night. I think Clarence was the only one there.
Clarence.
Oh, right. Clarence Dupree, the postman. He can vouch for me, and so can Gary.
And did you have anything against Wald?
Why, you could bet on a buttered biscuit I had something against him. Now, where's a gal to work without the horse? I sure as shootin' ain't gonna work for Cornelius Butterfoot.
Thank you for your time, Miss Clay.
Naturally.
Next up, Wyatt Morgan. Can you tell me a bit about yourself?
The name's Wyatt Morgan. I'm just a farmhand around these parts. All I know is corn, corn, and more corn.
And did you know Wald?
Yeah, I knew him. He was real supportive after Patricia died of dysentery.
Did you two ever have any conflict?
Me and old Wald? No. Except there was this one night. It was only a little while after Patricia had passed. I had one too many ginger ales, and I almost got into a fight with him. He said something that just made my blood boil. Why, that son of a gun? He said that my dear Patricia was asking me to get dysentery drinking from that stagnant pond. Well, I swore then and there, if I ever saw him again, No, me and Wald never had any disagreements. He was a real upstanding type of fella.
And just where were you the night Wald was murdered?
Well, I was at the farm, I was asleep, and I was woken up by the gunshots. A man's got to get up early, you know. But since Patricia's gone, I guess there's no one to prove I was there. But I swear up and down I was.
That'll be all. Thank you for your time, Morgan. That last outburst from Morgan was mighty suspicious, but I figured I should interview everyone before I started jumping to conclusions. Thanks for being here, Henrietta. You're quite the local celebrity around these parts, I hear.
Of course I am. The name's Holt, Henrietta Holt, and I'm the quickest gun in the West.
Phenomenal. You've got quite the collection of six-shooters, don't you, Henrietta?
Sure do. I've got so many I can hardly keep track. You've gotta when you're in my business. I think I have the largest collection in the West, right after that Oakley gal. What's her name?
And what was your relationship like with Wald?
I'll be honest, it wasn't good. He doesn't approve of my act, says it's immoral. Why? He just needed to get the stick out of it.
Miss Holt!
Sorry, but I swear I was at my house that whole night. My husband can confirm that too. I had gone inside for a spell when I heard the shots.
Holt's husband did vouch for her, so it looks like she might be in the clear. Our next suspect was the sheriff of the town, Frank Fishburne.
What's the meaning of this?
Mr. Fishburne, I know this is unusual, but, well, this is an unusual case, and everyone's a suspect.
Well, City Slicker, how do you figure I'd kill James Wald?
Well, did you have anything against the man?
Of course I did! Everyone in this dang blasted town did. He was a smarmy, arrogant little worm who had to stick his nose in everyone's business.
Mr. Fishburne?
Why, if a man wants to expand his police force, shouldn't he have the right? Shouldn't he have the right? That Holt lady has more firepower than us. All I want to do is protect the people, but that fish wouldn't let me. At least that Colt Rat fella knows where it's at.
Colt Rye will let you expand the police force?
Oh, sure. It's gonna be one of the first things he does. He's a good man. He's a shame about Wald and all, but Colt's a good man.
I take it your friends have done that.
We might have a root beer at the horse every now and then. So what?
And where were you the night of the murder?
I was at the station looking after Bart the bandit. Ike Lawrence, he was there the whole time. And so was Bart. But I wouldn't trust that fella to put the horseshoes on a mule, so I wouldn't exactly count on him for testimony.
All right, thank you, Mr. Fishburne.
Go eat a bucket of dirt!
Shoot, Fishburne sure had it out for Wald. Next up was Mallory King, who ran the local bakery. She's known as the town gossip.
Did you hear about Clarence Dupree and Mary Clay? I've got all the juicy details.
Miss King, I'd like to focus on Mayor Wald, if you don't mind.
Oh, sure. Very sad. He was a good man.
He never wronged you?
Goodness, no. He and that wonderful wife of his, Jessie, poor woman. We're good friends, you know. We have tea every Wednesday.
So you wouldn't have anything against Wald?
Oh, of course I had something against Wald. He didn't like my banana pie. Why, if I ever ran into him in a dark alley, awful thing that happened. Poor James.
Next, I decided to talk to Mallory's husband, Mr. Cornelius Butterfoot. Mr. Butterfoot, could you please control yourself?
Sorry. I'm Mr. Cornelius Butterfoot. I make candies and treats for the young and the young at heart. 5 pence for fudge, 10 cents for toffee. I got tea, milk, sugar, gravy, and coffee.
Right. How did you know Mayor Wald?
It's not how I knew him, it's where I knew him. At me old candy shop, of course. Right down the street from the Thirsty Horse. He came with a penny and left with a tart, and I do believe that man stole my heart.
You mean to say you grew attached to him?
That's right, my dear boy. I make treats and sweets. They're lovely to eat. I ring a bell and yell, bon appetit.
And, Mr. Butterfoot, did you ever bear a grudge against Mayor Wald?
You think my facade conceals nothing underneath? Why, if I ever had a chance, I'd punch him in his teeth. He didn't like my candy, no way, no how, and that's all the reason I need for now.
Is that a confession?
I realize that friendship is just only starting, but I regret to inform you, I must be departing.
Mr. Butterfoot.
Well, after that strange encounter, I was hoping to be able to interview someone a bit more down to earth. I decided to go with the next person on my list, Miss Mabel Simmons.
Howdy.
Howdy, Miss Simmons. Now, may I ask where you were the night of the murder?
Why, I was with the old doggies up a ways from town, strumming a tune on my guitar. I didn't even hear the shots over the crackle of the fire.
Can anyone confirm that?
Just my 500 longhorns. I admit I never did like that James Wald fella.
Really? How come?
Well, between me and you, he was trying to take away my cowpoking license. But I got to cowpoke. I just got to. So sure, I'd kill him, but that's just cowpoke and code of honor stuff.
I decided to go for the big guns, so to speak, and arranged a meeting with the newly appointed mayor, Colt Rye.
Howdy, Flint.
Hey there, Mr. Rye. Thanks for being so cooperative.
Anything to catch the yellow-bellied snake that did this to James.
You have an alibi?
I was at the town hall with James and Susie. We were working together on the big new thing for the town.
And what was that?
I can't really talk about it.
You've had quite a few days, haven't you?
Well, being promoted to mayor, sure. It's a bitter victory without James, though. It's just not the same without him by my side.
What are your relationships like with Frank Fishburne and Gary Corduroy?
Great couple of fellas. We've had some good times together.
You're a little more lenient with them than Wald was, aren't you?
I suppose so. James' wife sure didn't like those characters. She's no fun.
You stood to gain a lot without him, though.
What are you implying?
I'm not implying anything.
Oh, don't give me that. You know me and James built this town together. I could have thrown you in jail for saying something like that.
Mr. Rye.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm mad. Emotions. I've been running pretty high lately, as you can imagine. But this interview is over.
After Rye's outburst, I wanted to interview someone a bit more level-headed. Susie Boone, the treasurer of Tumbleweed.
I knew Wald better than his own wife knew him, that's for sure. Treasurer of Tumbleweed for 10 years. We practically built this town together. James was a brilliant man.
Did you see Wald the night of the murder?
I did, as a matter of fact. I think I was the last person to see him except his killer, of course. He had a tough day's work, and I told him I'd stay behind a few more hours to get the book straight, well, before...
Before?
Well, I shouldn't tell anyone this.
This interview is strictly confidential.
Well, all right then. The train's coming in town in a few weeks, and gonna really put Tumbleweed on the map, I should say. Untold thousands will be coming into town, and with them, new business and new money.
But that means...
Anyone unwilling or unable to adapt will be left in the dust. James loved Tumbleweed just the way it is, and he wasn't here for it. Well, Colt, on the other hand, he's a little more forward-thinking, awfully ambitious.
Well, you don't like Colt so much, do you?
Hardly. Rye couldn't build his way out of a wet paper bag. Me, on the other hand, I think there would be real potential in this town. The man's all talk, nothing to show for it. He makes friends with the biggest creeps in town and undermines everything James stood for.
The pieces were all starting to fall into place. One of the final missing pieces was Ike Lawrence, the deputy who Fishburne claimed could vouch for him. I talked to Ike after Susie. Shoot, this fella was cool as a cucumber but prickly as a cactus.
Frank was at the station the entire night, that's for sure. Say, he was steaming mad when he got out of there. You must have ticked him off something fierce, huh?
Yeah.
Well, don't feel too bad. His temper is legendary around Tumbleweed.
You sure seem to know a lot about Tumbleweed.
Well, when you're the sheriff's deputy, you hear a lot of things people don't want you to hear. Like Mary Clay and Clarence Dupree, or who has dysentery.
You know anything about a railroad coming through?
Yep, in a few weeks from now.
Now, did you have anything against Wald?
With the stuff I've heard, I've had half a mind to shoot everyone in this dang town. Sure, I've had heaps of things against James Wald, but I wouldn't kill him. It's not in my nature.
That'll be all. Thanks, Mr. Lawrence.
No problem.
For my final interviewee, I chose the newly widowed Jessie Wald. Thank you so much for being here, Miss Wald.
Of course.
Did James say anything in his final days that would indicate who could have been out to get him?
Well, he did keep saying something about how the railroad is coming through in a few weeks. He really disapproved of it.
Why is that?
James had some very particular ideas about how things should be. He loves Tumbleweed, but he doesn't love change so much. I think that he thought the train coming through would ruin his perfect little town, and James would do anything to protect his town.
He do anything that made you upset?
Well, bless him. The night before he was murdered, I caught him kissing another woman. I couldn't believe it.
I bet that made you mad.
Oh, it sure did. Why? On the spot, I could have just... Oh, I don't want to talk about it. Oh, gosh, blast it. What am I going to do without him?
So there you have it, folks. 12 suspects, but only 2 of them are guilty. Well, this one has me scratching my head. So I've decided to call on you, the good folk of Tumbleweed. You're gonna have an opportunity to vote for 2 of these suspects. Now, you could vote for who you like the most, you know, if you're lame. However, if you're cool, you can vote for who you think the murderers are. I'll be unveiling a clue each day as I work more on the case. We'll probably do that. Now, in the meantime, I have a real special treat. Even though only 2 of these suspects really did it, we can all agree that the lot of them are no good scoundrels. So I've cooked up a plan to run these ne'er-do-wells through a battery of activities that'll make them all look like darn fools. Enjoy!